Welcome to the Soul Revival Podcast, where we have deep and meaningful conversations exploring modalities, tools, and healing, guiding you back to your most expansive soul self.
Welcome back to the Soul Revival Podcast. Friends, today's episode is extra special because we're celebrating love, divine timing, and the magic of saying yes to the universe. Our Lindsay has had the most beautiful divine intervention in her life, meeting her soulmate Kim, and we thought it would be a great opportunity to share the story of how spirit brought these two together, the synchronicities along the way, and the lessons in trust and surrender that led to this moment. Today I took the mic to lead, and I also just want to give a huge shout out because when we are recording today, they are 9 days out from their marriage. So we need to celebrate them and big congratulations, 9 days away. But with Lindsay here on the mic to tell her story, grab a nice cup of tea and tune in.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, Autumn. Oh my gosh. I really feel like it's so easy to start at the end, or I guess in the middle of the journey as it is. But I feel it's very, very necessary to go all the way back and tell the early parts and really tell where I was at from a headspace perspective. And because I think it's going to resonate with everybody listening that has specifically that has lost a spouse or a partner in some capacity. And whether you're, married or not, if you feel a soul connection with somebody, you're in love with somebody, and they transition out of this physical world, even if you've done this deep work, even if you're doing this deep work, there's so much that comes up. And so I really want to start there because I feel like that's going to be really important for everybody to understand the backstory. And also, I feel like this recording these episodes, and I'm positive it's going to end up being a two-parter for our part. And then we've got something super special that we're going to be dropping afterwards. But I feel like it is meant to shine awareness and really help people that might be going through this, and I'm going to be 100% raw, vulnerable, and authentic in everything that I communicate and the challenges that I went through with this. And I'll just start by saying that everybody that knows me has followed me. And if you're new to my world, Roger was my soulmate, and he passed in 2020. And even when he was diagnosed with this illness, I really never, anybody that's lost somebody will understand this. Even when you have a diagnosis facing you and you know what's coming, you don't know what's coming. Like you can't plan for it. And I think we're intentionally meant to not be able to plan for it because we're actually supposed to be in the moment. And so I was totally shell shocked, even with his diagnosis, and knowing that it, was going to be a really short window of time that he had left on this physical plane. And we had a lot of conversations. So I'm going to go back to even that, actually. We had a lot of conversations when he was in his final days and weeks in his physical body. And we kind of went back to the beginning of our relationship where when we dated, we would literally stay up all night long and talk. And we did that when he was in hospice. And I'm so thankful for that. And I'm so thankful that I had the intuitive awareness to, as soon as he fell asleep, go out and journal everything, which is a practice that I continue to do to this day with all the signs and messages that I get from him. And some of the conversations we had were around, we didn't have the conversation of like, I want you to find somebody or something like that. He knew I would not be receptive to that conversation. And I'm sure at a soul level, he knew that I would have totally shut that down. We didn't have that conversation. But the conversation we did have was that he would always be available to me, that our love was always and forever, and that there was no end to our love. We both had divine downloads about that before he left his physical body. And we talked about the fact that certain things would happen if he was to come back to me through somebody, or there was no specific language around how it was going to happen. It was more of him. And this is, I think, how you know when somebody's transitioning, that they're tapping into their soul self, their higher self, because this goes way beyond our comprehension here in the physical world. And I just trusted in it. So I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know if it was going to happen. I didn't care about any of that. All I cared about was staying connected to his soul and us being able to forever be bonded. So we had those conversations, and he did share with me a specific sign that he would send that I told no one about. And of course, I've shared so many signs that he's given me, and channeled the book about our journey and everything. But one sign that he and I talked about in regards to this concept of some way of him coming back to me was sacred, and I didn't share it with anybody. I told everybody that there was something, but I didn't tell them what the something was. So I just want to set the stage that, like, that's the foundational elements. Now, obviously, I have gone since his passing. I've gone like just as deep I can go into the connective work and being able to maximize our communication. And that was literally everything to me. And that's honestly, that was my survival mechanism. That is how I survived his passing. It is the only way I survived his passing. I can tell you that with confidence. So everything I could do that would help me connect, communicate, and invite in communication from him, I did. Any modality, any movie, any podcast, any communication that I was being called to, any like signs that popped up on my phone that related to being able to deepen that connection and communication with him, I was 100% all in. That's all I cared about. That was like my primary, that was above everything else, like nothing else was anywhere close to that, right? And I'm sharing all this because I think it's really important to know the lens at which I was coming at things. And I had, most people, I think, didn't even ask me like, oh, are you going to date or whatever. Anybody that knows me well, like, no, nobody asked me that. And when people that I was in grief communities with, might start dating somebody or whatever, I just didn't resonate with it at all. Like, it wasn't for me. And I had plenty of conversations with people as, years ticked by, and it's not lost on me that we're recording this the day after the 5th anniversary of Roger's passing, which we did not plan, was actually supposed to be recorded a week ago. So the universe definitely intended for this to be recorded today. But I just had no intention of ever, when you have like the relationship that we had, when you're blessed with the, next level expansive love that we had, I wasn't going to do that to myself or to somebody else. Like, I just figured anything else would just be a letdown, and that wouldn't be fair to somebody else. And I just figured like nobody could meet that standard, nobody could be at like that level of relationship. And so I had resolved myself, and it wasn't like a block, but I had pretty much just figured that the romantic love part of my life was done, and that was fine with me. I wasn't that was totally good by me in the physical world. I should say, in the physical world, that was totally good by me. I just figured if the rest of my years were being surrounded by loving community, family, friends, and expanding those relationships, that is more than enough. I recognize that the love I had was such a huge love that most people don't ever experience that once in their lifetime. So I feel so grateful and so blessed to have experienced that in this physical incarnation. And to ask anything more was, I wouldn't have done. And my mom asked me one night, if I would, like, this was probably almost 2 years ago now, if I would consider dating somebody. And I was like, no, I'm just done with that part of my life. Like, I'm just done with that part of my life. I just don't need, like, I just don't need it. Like, I, I don't believe in settling in any area of my life. And I just felt like anything, anything else would have been a compromise. And so
Yeah.
I just want to foundationally share that.
I love how vulnerable you're being because I do know that you and Roger carried a very specific sacred love. And I feel a lot of people out there that are going through the same thing and just kind of grieving. Um, exactly. It's not being closed off. It's just having like respect for one another and understanding, like, hey, I'm okay where I'm at and I've done the healing and I've done the work and I love myself where I'm at. And I think that a lot of people are you're going to open a lot of hearts and minds with this story of all that you're bringing to the table with you and Kim.
Yeah, I think, and I just think it's really important because I know some people have the mindset that some people are open like to, and they maybe don't want to be alone and they recognize that they're better not being alone. And I just want to level set because I think there's a decent number of people out there, probably especially women, honestly, who are just gonna like feel like I probably felt that, like, that box is was checked, and they're not, they have no intention of dating or being in relationship with anybody again. And that was where my head was at. And I just think that's so important to understand because I was in no way seeking anything. Matter of fact, I was probably on the opposite end of seeking anything. And um and also I was doing the deep work. And I think that's another really important thing. So many things called this in for me. And I know obviously Roger was like the guiding force behind it. And because I was doing the deep healing work, because I had dove into my connection with him, I recognized those signs. I recognized that connective tissue. I was had done enough healing work and been alone long enough. And I want to emphasize that too, because in the silence of us being alone is when we heal. When you're running from relationship to relationship or distraction to distraction, you're not actually healing and you're not being present with your grief. And I do think it's really important to differentiate the two things because it's the only way that we can truly be able to transform our grief and expand from our grief is to be in it. And there's no shortcut. It will catch up with you. If you're trying to sidestep it, you're not going to be able to. Like, it will catch up with you. So I feel like I know in my heart and soul that doing the healing work, being connected to my soul self, doing the meditations, doing the visualizations, having the dream visits with him, finding out, information about like the larger picture for my soul and my purpose as a healer and being tied into my why of going through the experience with Roger passing was critical to me being able to be in a receptive state. Even though I didn't seem like I was in a receptive state, I was. So to me, it's like the ultimate manifestation. And it's happened now with two huge areas of my life. It happened with my dog Valor, and his reincarnation as Sterling, and being open to that and manifesting that. And manifesting that, ultimately manifesting isn't us. It's us working in connection with God, source, the universe, our entire divine support team, which is our loved ones as well, our angels. It is opening the portal and giving a pathway to invite that in. And by me doing the deep work, by me helping others on their transformational journey, I know that it opened the door for that portal that wouldn't have otherwise been open had I not done the deep work.
Exactly. Lindsay, I also feel the need to bring awareness too, because just as much as others are maybe feeling like they're just not open to love, or they just, that chapter is closed. A lot of people that I have sessions with will come to me, and I don't know if you have any advice for these people, but they'll come to me and they'll tell me, like, my significant other on the other side will be mad at me if I go and try to get in another relationship, or if I find another love. Like, what if I find another love, but the love connection with my person on the other side is deeper? Will I still have him on the other side, even though there's this love that I have here? And I always tell them, love is everlasting. Love is um, all that they want you to experience on the other side, however it comes for you or to you. And most times they're sending you this person. They're making sure the breadcrumbs are leading up for this person to
Yeah.
find you. What advice do you have for those that are kind of in that kind of
You
energy?
know, so what I would say actually is I'm going to zoom out from that, because what I actually would say on that is a limited human view of of how things work. And that is not actual reality. So I know in truth, I'm not exactly sure how it works on the other side, but the one thing I do know is we're not separate, and our souls can be in two places at the same time. So we can be a vessel for somebody here in this physical world and at the same time be on the other side. And I guess I'm getting emotional because it feels like deep truth to me. Um, so I think it's really important to just recognize that there is no separation. It's all oneness and it's all love over there. There is no judgment. There's no jealousy like there was here in the physical world. There's no separation. We're all one. And so, and this isn't about like the energy of desperation of not being alone. This is about the energy of being open to what God, source, your divine support team have available to and for you. And there's a real distinction, because feeling the desperate need to be in a relationship is fear based, and that's not love based. But being open to the magic and miracles that you would never expect, that's a totally different energy. That's the energy of oneness. That's the energy of love. And that's what invites in what your entire divine support team, including your spouse on the other side, have available to you. And that's what it is. It's just having that like spark of awareness that we're all connected and there is no separation.
And Earth is meant to feel like magic. Earth is meant to feel like magic. It's not meant to, feel shameful or any of those energies that I feel like some people will have after, going through that grief process, and then having the judgments of others on them, and they just get in that very zoomed in state. I like that you stated zoom out,
Yeah.
because that's not reality. And the other side is nothing but magic, and the things that they can bring in. I mean, Lindsay's story alone is all magic and very, very, very much full of love and support, and just so much unconditional love. And I'm getting emotional because I know how this unfolded, and I was there real time. I mean, I knew you, Lindsay, when you weren't, you were fine being alone. You were very fine. You were very positive, uplifting. Like, you worked with magic every single day, and you were in communication with Roger. And even now you're still in communication with Roger every single day. And Roger was tapping me during this process of everything that was going on. And he just kept telling me, like, she may not want to, like, because there's boundaries. There's boundaries. Spirit will never show me anything that you're not ready to tell. So he kept showing me, like, blinds, and, like, he's like peeking. He's like peeking through the blinds, and he's like, ask her, ask her, ask her. So I reached out, or you reached out to me, but I had kind of had a sense already. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, the magic is here.
I mean, it's amazing. And I think, and that's the thing too. It's like I just want to reiterate not being in the energy of fear and being in the energy of openness and love, because that's really what it's about. And I think when we start having thoughts of like judgment of the others, like the other side judging us in any type of capacity, like that is not real. That's our human egoic mind putting fear on and projecting on our partner or loved ones on the other side, and that just doesn't exist over there. And it goes into the whole larger conversation of like time, and really the fact that time is not linear, and that we can be all places at all times. I know from the experiences I have like every day. I have so many dream visits, like most of the mediums I'm friends with are blown away by it. But I know that part of my higher self, my soul self, is on the other side, and part of my soul self is here having this incarnation, and that is why it's easy for me to go back and forth. And I think that's really important when it comes to this topic, because they're not mutually exclusive. Like it's not like you have to shut out communication or connection with your loved one on the other side to have a relationship with somebody here in the physical world. They're not mutually exclusive. They can coexist in a really, really beautiful way that brings in so much more love into your life.
Yeah, I love that. And no matter what, on the other side, they're proud of you. They are so proud of you because in this earthly realm, there's no right or wrong. It's just you're gonna learn lessons. You're gonna go through things, and no matter what, they are always proud of you. They're always cheering you on. They're always like, going with you no matter what. Because in the end, it's a choice, and when you choose love and open yourself up to the love, it's just so much magic. And with that, Lindsay, I think that we should do part two.
Yeah,
I think we
agreed.
should come back for part two for the really, really amazing, just full of love, full of signs, full of grace episode.
Absolutely. I just want to close this one out by saying one thing. Love starts with loving yourself. And when you're in deep grief, you have to love yourself first. That takes precedent. You have to love yourself first and give yourself that time and space to be in it. And even though it sucks, you have to be in it. You have to go through it. You can't sidestep it. So being in love with yourself enough to do the deep work is what you have to do.
If you loved today's episode, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. Follow our podcast. We release a new episode each and every week, and join us on Facebook inside the Soul Revival community. Come be a part of the magic. We'll see you there.